What's up, everybody? How are the cards falling these days? Got a couple clips for you. Quick one about gun rights and defending your home. Do you think Mark McCloskey was wrong to stand out front and protect his house with his guns, one which was fake and the other not loaded? They were scared, right? Put yourself in their shoes. Okay, I'm just confused on what the problem is. A lot of people that I know and grew up with and learned a lot from, I just don't seem to hear what it is that I've learned from them coming out, and so I'm confused. So anyways, let's all have an open mind. Talking about Mark Levin here too. Now, do you not just like the guy? But a lot of people don't. But if you don't like him, can you still like what it is he has to say, getting past maybe insults, you know? Because if you're liberal and he says something bad about liberals, which he does, so little trigger warning, just can you get past that to hear the actual message? I swear it would behoove you. Do not get offended. Just listen to what others have to say. Remember, disagreements is not disrespect. Insults can be, yes, but we all know that. Just let it bounce off your flesh, have thicker skins. Let's get to it.
Mark McCloskey, remember this guy? Trying to defend his home. Well, his lawyer filing a motion to remove the prosecutor from their case, claiming she is trying to campaign off the case. Apparently true. We'll explain as we continue.
I believe very true. It's easy to see. Very true, right? Agree. If not, let's agree and disagree. But the evidence. All about evidence.
All right, as we continue, we saw a liberal meltdown over a tweet by President Trump pointing out how corrupt this election process could be. The president asked about it today and finds out he was trolling them to pay attention to the issue. Pretty interesting on the president's part, but also just breaking tonight as we move forward. The Washington Post reporting the Postal Service backlogs sparking worries the ballot delivery could be delayed in November. President's right to call attention to it. There's no intention of delaying the election at all. Here with reaction, the author of the #1 New York Times bestseller, On Freedom of the Press, the host of Life, Liberty, and Levin.
Let's get to a huge point real fast. This is not the time to start changing up our voting. This COVID, everyone should be on guard. Okay, not that COVID is a hoax, but the way they're blowing it out of proportion, it sure is. How convenient to have the economy shut down. I don't know if you've seen it, but I could get a lot of clips together showing a lot of those on the Democratic side or those who just hate Trump. They say bring on a recession. They don't care. They make millions. They have a lifestyle that it doesn't hurt them to be out of work. But we got to think about the millions of people that the coronavirus is affecting that don't even have it. And a good question is, how bad is a virus that's so bad that you have to be tested in order to know that you have it? All right. Anyways, some food for thought. Let's get together, man. Women, people. Anyways, much love. Let's get our brains on. Hey, all right. It's gonna come right to it. I have to unmute this. All right. Just remember, COVID hoax.
Sunday nights, 8 p.m., Fox News Channel. I call him the Great One. You know, Mark.
Again, let me clarify. COVID virus, real. Where did it come from? Who's involved? Follow the money. Who's making money off the vaccines? How they are handling this is simply political to try to get Trump out of office. If you think I'm wrong, debate me on it. Let's put the proof together, and let's not think of if we're wrong, we have to eat crow. Don't let pride get involved. Let's find the truth. That's what matters. Hashtag truth matters.
We watched this Barack Obama give the eulogy, the service for John Lewis today. John Lewis, brave man his whole life. He literally made changes to the Civil Rights Act come into being, Voting Rights Act. And I'm listening to Obama today, and he's talking about, in John's memory, John Lewis's memory, extending the Voting Rights Act. And I'm thinking, the guy at the top of the ticket for the Democrats this year, along with Pelosi, along with Schumer, along with the Clintons, they praise the former Klansmen who filibustered these bills. Now you tell me, and this happens every Sean, 2 and 4 years, Mark.
You know, Sean, that speech by Obama Reminded me of the good old days of Obama when he was a community activist hanging out with domestic terrorists. He's probably really getting into the, Molotov cocktails and all the rest, the good old days for Obama. Obama has milked this country for everything it's worth. He's milked it for maximum power. He and his wife are now worth tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, having sold their presidency after they've left office. He gives these speeches now and then. He's abused the black community more than any modern president that I'm aware of, or any modern politician for that matter. What exactly has this man done for the black community since he's been in the private sector? What did he do for the black community when he was president?
Can you say, Biden, Rama? Biden for president? No, it's Biden for president.
Other than kill
Biden, Obama? Anyways, by the end of this video, I'll come up with something to kill.
School choice in Washington, D.C. I can tell you what Lincoln did for African Americans. I can tell you what Grant did. I can tell you what Eisenhower did. I can tell you what LBJ did. I can tell you what Donald J. Trump did. But I can't tell you what Obama did. Now, I want to educate Obama, the former law school professor, and all the leftist kooks out there. This country, systemically racist, let me tell you something. No country puts hundreds of thousands of men on the battlefield and lose them in a civil war to keep a union and end slavery. The equivalent of 4 million men lost their lives to end slavery. That's a little bit more than Barack Obama has done or LeBron James. Let's go over it quickly. Civil Rights Act of 1866. Does that sound like a country that's systemically racist? I don't have time to get into what every one of these acts did, but people can look them up. Civil Rights Act of 1871. Civil Rights Act of 1875. Civil Rights Act of 1957. Civil Rights Act of 1960. Liberals, follow along. Civil Rights Act of 1964, Civil Rights Act of 1965, Civil Rights Act of 1968, Civil Rights Act of 1990, Civil Rights Act of 1991. We have Supreme Court decisions. 1948, Shelley versus Kramer. 1954, Brown versus Board of Education. 1962, Bailey versus Peterson. This is what I would have said at John Lewis's funeral. 1967, Loving versus Virginia. 1968, Jones versus Meyer. 1971, Griggs versus Duke Power. 1986, Paxson versus Kentucky. Now, here's what I didn't hear at the funeral when Obama was giving a Democrat left-wing kook speech. Not a word about America's greatness. Not a word about how men in our military, black, white, brown, red, yellow, went off to defeat Hitler and Peto Joe and Italy, fascist Italy, put their lives on the line. 400,000 of them died. Not a word about the men that fought in Korea and Vietnam and Afghanistan and Iraq in our diverse, integrated military. Not a damn word. Not a word about the thousands of those who are murdered in our cities every year. 7,500 black people. Mostly 90% by other black people, including in his city of Chicago. Didn't bring it up once. Not a word about the nuclear family and personal responsibility and opportunity. Not a single uplifting word for the country that made him rich and made him president and made him powerful. Rather than saying, look at what I've done with my life. Look at what I've become. Look at all the people trying to pour over our border, legally and illegally, of all races. From the third world, south of the border, from the continent of Africa, from the Far East, from the Middle East, from all over the world. Why are they trying to come here? Because of George Wallace and Bull Connor? This guy, they want to run against George Wallace and Bull Connor. Well, I would say this to President Trump. You've got a quasi-Bull Connor and a quasi-George Wallace. His name is Joe Biden. And Joe Biden bragged about working with James Eastland
JoBama
and Stennis, two white segregationists and racists from Mississippi. He bragged about working with other segregationists. Joe Biden has said nasty, bigoted things throughout his life, despite the Praetorian Guard left-wing media that protects him in his bubble in his basement and all the rest of it. The fact of the matter is, I know this. Donald Trump and the private sector hired thousands of black Americans. Tell me, today, the very wealthy Obamas, how many black Americans have they hired? How many black Americans have they helped? How many black Americans did Biden hire? None. Few. This president hired thousands during the half-century career in the private sector. And as president of the United States, What did he get? 7-8% of the vote of the black community, and yet what has he done in the black community? 1,000 times more than Obama ever dreamed of doing. So Obama gives a good Castro-like speech, but when the rubber hits the road, he's nowhere to be found.
JoBama,
That's it.
JoBama for
The rubber-
president. JoBama, that's it. So if you're voting this coming election, know who you're voting for, then say no to mail-in ballots. Go to the voting booth, and don't worry about COVID. Wear your mask, social distance. If you go to the grocery store, you could go vote. If it's that important, it's worth dying for. We can't send our children, our nation's gems, and you know, they're the gift. They are the gift. Our children, they are the future. And if you're going to send them off to some other country and fight and die for who knows what, you can join the fight and go vote coming November. Say no to mail-in voting. Say no to JoBama. But it's your choice. Just know who you're voting for.